Welcome to my Chow line. I'm Tracy Lingle. Join me as we serve up dishes that are sure to please. We will also hear a story about food and military service. I want to thank all the veterans out there. Hope you're having a great summer. Let's get into this. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for today's cook, Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings and armedforces.press. We'll be using Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings today in today's cook. We're going to be making chicken wings. So we're going to be doing smoked chicken wings. We'll be using the Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings. We'll be using the Platoon Sergeant salt, pepper, garlic. And then we'll be using the Crispy's Mango Habenero seasoning. I also have some hot sauce here, the Fire Chief hot sauce. It's really good. In fact, we got 2 bottles of it, and my wife has pretty much drank the first bottle on her own. So I gotta hide it from her. She loves it. I love it. It's really good. And then we're gonna be using the barbecue sauces as well for dipping and for glazing on some of these. We have the Hellfire Honey. We have the Bunker Bourbon, or Bunker Bacon Bourbon, and then the original. So huge shout out to Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings. They have some great stuff. Go to grillyourassOff.com/mychowline or use mychowline at checkout to save 10% off and get grilling today. Armedforces.press. Want to thank you guys for checking them out. Military news, any news that has to do with conflicts overseas, inside the United States as well. Stuff going on inside all the branches. These are all veterans who are looking to make sure that they're giving you the truth about what's happening in the military. I just saw an article today pop up about Ukraine bombing the northern Russian air base and with drones, and that they're on top of stuff, man. I get notifications all the time about all kinds of stuff going on with Trump, what's going on with the election, stuff going on within the military as well. Good things and bad things. They're going to expose it all. Make sure you get a chance to see the truth. So check out armedforces.press, bringing integrity back to the military and military news. All right, guys, so we're going to get into these wings. We'll get back to it in just a minute. All right, so chicken wings. So it's cheaper to buy them whole like this, where you got the drumlet and the flat together with the wingtip, and process them yourself. But if you're in a hurry, you can grab the packs where they're already done. Costco has them in packs. Sometimes they're already cut up and everything like that. They're cheaper that way if you can go to Costco and get them. But this was the way I did it. So breaking down chicken wings, you want a good sharp knife. Cut through the tip at the joint. Same thing on the flat. And then we're going to brine these. So I'm going to throw these in here. Throw the wingtip. You could save the wingtips and use them in broth to make broth. So that's another good thing. So I'm going to cut all these up, prep all these. But you want a good sharp knife, and you want to find that joint. You can get down in there, find the joint. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna finish cutting these up, and we'll get back and I'll show you how we do the brine. All right, so we have all our chicken cut up. Now, if you wanted to get super fancy for your next cook, if you go back and watch my chicken lollipops video, where I take the drumsticks and I cut around the base. So if you take all these drumlets and you were to cut around the shaft, get all those tendons, and then pull the meat to the bottom, and of course pull you can do the same thing with these, and it makes an amazing bite, and it helps cook them better. Now, it takes a lot of time to do that, so that's up to you, but it is another way to make it let's take it another step further and do fancy. That's how Gordon Ramsey does his chicken wings. If you go back and watch Hot Ones, his second appearance on Hot Ones, I think it was a Christmas episode. That's how they did their drumlets. So think about doing it next time for you. I'm gonna do a few just to show you what it looks like when it's all done. But yeah, so that's one way to make it, step it up into be a little fancy. I mean, it's extra labor, but this is a labor of love. If you're wanting to put love into your dishes, this is how you do it. the little extra steps to make it a little more special, make it a little bit better. Take the time, use the right ingredients, and prep all the stuff the right way. So, all right. So now I'm gonna trim up a few more of these with the drumlets, and then we're gonna brine this. And if you get drumlets that have a bunch of stuff hanging off like that, that's just all loose, we'll just trim up a little bit of it, because that stuff will burn. Even though we're smoking this low and slow to help retain some of the flavor and moisture in it and get good color on it. Alright, so we are going to brine these. So brine is, a wet brine is salt and water at the very simple level. I'm going to add salt, pepper, apple cider vinegar, or salt, apple cider vinegar, and water. I'm used to saying salt and pepper together. So I'm using some pink extra fine to help it dissolve a little faster. Just to put a little bit of salt on there. Take the apple cider vinegar. Don't need a lot. And then some water. All right, so we're gonna wrap these up, set them in the fridge and let them cool off and just sit. You want them submerged as much as possible, but this bowl's the biggest one I got right now that's clean that I can use. So we're going with this one. It's just enough. It'll work. Do this for about an hour at the minimum. You can do it as long as up to overnight. Now, when you start using stuff, you can use any kind of, you could use lemon juice, pineapple juice, pickle juice, any of that for it. But when you start using stuff like pineapple juice or lemon juice, you only want to limit it to about an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours max. Pineapple juice, if it's fresh pineapple juice, an hour, no more. That'll make it super tender, but if you take it too much further, it'll just turn to mush. So be careful when using other kinds of tenderizing and moisturizers. So just a water, salt, and apple cider vinegar. You don't have to use the apple cider vinegar. You can just do water and salt. It's very simple. And just let it sit in that overnight. You can add other seasonings if you want to. You can go crazy. You can buy a special brine. They have turkey brines and chicken brines out there. You can get those. But we're just doing simple just to help impart some moisture, because we're going to be smoking these things low and slow to get them to where they're nice and tender and fall off the bone, juicy. So we're going to wrap these up, put them in the fridge, get back to it. All right, so our chicken's been brining for about an hour, hour and a half. I'm going to take them out, start drying them off, and getting them ready to season up. Alright, so we have our 2 trays of chicken wings here. We've dried them off. And what we're going to do now is we're going to season them up, mix them up a little bit, and then let them rest for a little bit with some foil over them while the fire finishes getting going. Alright, so our fire's going. Here's our sets of chicken wings. We're going to go ahead and season them up with our seasonings. We're going to do 1 batch with the Platoon Sergeant Grill Your Ass Off seasoning, which is salt, pepper, garlic. Really good blend. Smells awesome. And then we're going to do the other with the Crispy's Mango Habanero. And that's a really good blend as well. It's got just a little bit of heat to it. It's just a really good all-around seasoning. It is, in fact, my favorite out of all of them. The salt, pepper, garlic is a second. And it's good on everything. The salt, pepper, garlic is, you could use that as table salt. You know, the table seasoning for on the, you know, put it on mashed potatoes, put it on anything. It is the perfect mixture. It's the perfect mixture of salt, pepper, and garlic, and it's just amazing. So go ahead and season these up. Now remember, we're going to season them up really good. Coat them really good, because when they're on the grill, some of it may come off as you move them around on the grill. So just make sure you put plenty on. All right, there we have our chicken. It's on right now. So what we're going to do is I'm also going to baste. I've got in here, I've got oil, Worcestershire water, and apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of the salt, pepper, garlic blend. And I'm just going to brush it on. And then what it'll do is it'll help get a nice color on the outside and help crisp up the outside edges of the chicken. We don't have to go super strong with it, just a light brushing. Make sure you stir it real good. All right, now we're gonna let this continue to cook and get browned up. All right, welcome to my Chow line. I'm Tracy Lingle, and today I have Joe Crane with me. I'm gonna pop a little horse soldier, and I was smoking a Warfighter tobacco cigar while Joe talks about himself for a little bit and tells us his story. Joe, take it away.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. I'm Joe Crane. I'm retired out of the Army after 23 years, 4 months and 18 days of active duty service. I spent the majority of my time in the 7 Special Forces group. The other remaining time, I was an instructor out at Safar Tech, if you know what that is. During my time, I spent most of my time on operational detachments. Most of my time on 783, then 795, came back to the States. I was an instructor, went back to 783. They came from Panama back up to Fort Bragg at that time, was the team sergeant of 783. Then I did a little stint in group headquarters, was promoted to first sergeant, was the group HHC first sergeant. And then I took another team before I retired. And actually, during that time, I started what's known as the Special Forces Advanced Operation Course, Urban Operation Course, which was spread to all the groups. So my ODA was chosen to do this because of our experience, and that was a good way to leave the Army. I had a great run because I was the lead trainer in the group. The group commander wouldn't allow me to deploy to Afghanistan with the rest of my battalion. He wanted me to continue to train a group. And then I knew it was time to go. If I couldn't deploy, it was time to pop smoke. So I did. But it was a good run. And honestly, I loved every day in the Army. In Special Forces, every day was different, and it was just a good run.
Nice. All right, so you were 7 Special Forces group. You served 23 years, 20 of it in the Special Forces. Now, you were telling me before we got started, you have a couple of stories. Let's go through the one you told me about, something about happened in Venezuela, about you deploying to Venezuela. What year was that?
1987.
1987 to Venezuela. Share that story with us.
So we went to an island called Isla de Anacoco. It was an island right on the border of Guyana. Guyana at the time was a Cuban satellite. It was a communist country. And we were there to train the Venezuelan battalion that was at this small island in border defense. and some other basic skills, basic survival skills, basic soldier skills. Um, while we were there, it's very interesting. I mean, we obviously had an intelligence mission to do since we're so close to Guyana, which we were performing, and then performing our training mission. Uh, the highlight of the mission, other than getting to the food, which I'll get to in a minute, was the Guyanese. They were not happy with us being on that little island and started lobbing mortars our way. And the Venezuelan government wanted to pull us out of there. They didn't want U.S. blood shed on their island or in their country. So a few days later, we did leave. We would have much rather stayed and get into the mix, but you know how that goes. But we had uh, normally when we deploy, we do bring MREs and stuff, but we never bring cooks. We don't bring a big chow line. We normally pay the host nation to provide us food. That does a couple things. It helps their economy a little bit. And then we get to interface more with the locals and with the soldiers. So many times they'll bring in local cooks from a local village to do the cooking. So we get to interface with them. And then we eat with the soldiers each meal during the day and builds that camaraderie. Because, you know, you never know. We may have to fight side by side. Of course, if things were to happen today, it would be, you know, against them because they're not very friendly with the United States. And I hope that doesn't happen because honestly, the Venezuelan people are just wonderful people themselves. So with the Chow, I remember specifically we would pay them $40 a week and I'm sorry, $40 a month. And the first week we ate pretty good. You know, we'd have some chicken and rice and some veggies. The second week was okay, a little bit less chicken, a little bit more rice, a little bit less veggies. Week three, we're digging into our MREs because we're not getting fed much. Week four was always the worst. So one week, we took a Bangalore torpedo when we tossed it into the river, hoping that we could blow up a whole bunch of fish. And so we started scooping, but the only fish that were coming up were the Caribe and the piranha, right? And if you know anything about the piranha and Caribe, man-eating fish, they're skin and bone. There was literally no meat on those things. So our fishing adventure didn't work so well. The next week, the Venezuelans went out hunting, and they brought back the largest rodent in the Western Hemisphere. It's called a Nicky. It's a rat. It's a big rat and they smoked them, and they were actually pretty good. So we had smoked rat for 1 week, um, and honestly, again, that was good. And then another week, uh, again, we're starting to dig into MREs because these guys aren't providing what they said they'd provide, and they came back out. 12 soldiers come back carrying an anaconda, and
Wow.
that's what we ate. The thing is, they had no idea how to cook it. So they didn't fillet it, they didn't skin it. They chopped it into blocks and put it into like a big stew. And no, it didn't taste like chicken. I don't know what it tastes like, but it was pretty nasty. But you know, that's all we had, so that's what we dove into. So um, you know, I know many of these adventures had happened over the years with deployed SFODAs. You know, they don't have the typical supply chain that follows them. They don't have veterinarians to go in and check out the kitchens of the locals, which is probably a good thing because we'd never eat, right? But yeah, it was good. That was a memorable experience. It seemed like it happened yesterday, but it was way back in '87.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great story, and just getting an opportunity. I've actually watched a few episodes of Meat Eater, and Meat Eater had they go to Guyana and they're fishing and they're hunting in Guyana, and he's eating piranha and he's eating catfish there, and he's eating, they're eating birds and snakes and stuff there, which is Guyana, which I didn't realize was that close to Venezuela. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that I didn't know that those piranhas that you had that they were there and were just meat and bone because the piranhas they're pulling up in Guyana were huge. The big fat boys.
Those big ones are called Caribe. And there's a little bit more meat on them than actual piranhas. But yeah, so yeah, it was quite the experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And I appreciate it. And man, that's pretty awesome. All right, so our wings are done. So here we go. I coated one of them with the hot sauce, one with each of the sauces, except for I used two of them on the Hellfire Honey, on the ones I had with the Crispies Mango Habanero. Woo! That's good stuff right there. All right, so crack open a beer. The flies know the food's out already. Yingling, yeah. Good stuff. All right. We'll try just a salt and pepper garlic one all by its own. You see the crispiness on that skin. Oh. Oh my God. Salt, pepper, garlic, man. Crunchiness, it was crunchy. When you do cut them like the lollipops, man, it looks good. So I'm gonna try the one with hot sauce on it. It's the Fire Chief hot sauce from Grill Your Ass Off. I just put it right on top of it, just coated it on it. It's not super hot sauce, but it's a very good flavor, and it is spicy, but it's not like Inferno spicy. Oh, got salt and pepper from the Crispies Mango Habanero. Heat, flavor, and it's not like I can't feel my tongue, I can't feel my lips, but they're burning. Tailgating time. As I'm recording this, but when this comes out, we have 4 weeks left before Georgia Bulldog football comes on. Man, can't wait. Anyway, all right. Now we're just going to use some of the regular barbecue sauce. Actually, this is the bacon bourbon right here. Oh, you have the salt and pepper and the garlic, gives it a nice salty umami, and then the sweetness from this barbecue sauce. Man, that is good. If you haven't tried these sauces yet, you need to try these sauces. Oh my goodness. They're thin enough to glaze. They're not super thick, so you don't feel like you're getting a whole bite of just sauce. Now for one I'm really waiting for. This is a Hellfire Honey Habanero with the Crispies Mango. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's something there that's not there with the others. Like a tanginess. Can't go wrong with wings, man. Can't go wrong. And this is the regular classic barbecue. Now that's good. That's just sweet and salty. Make us some wings. Grab the seasonings. Make some wings and enjoy football this year. Cheers. Thank you all for tuning into my chow line. Thank you for going on this journey with us. If you'd like to try these sauces and seasonings, go to grillyourassoff.com/mychowline and you'll save 10% off on your order, or use my chow line at checkout to save 10% off at grillyourassoff.com. And I'm telling you, you won't go wrong.